Okay. Take two. Welcome everyone back to the Koi Pond.
Episode 8.
Episode 8.
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year.
Part 2, if you didn't see that on Twitch earlier yesterday at this point. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Starting this year off right on the podcast, aren't we?
Absolutely.
God bless it.
A very lively beginning to the new podcasting season for us, eh?
You know, if you missed it, I'm just going to recap it real quick so I feel better. I accidentally clicked the wrong button. We went live on Twitch for a minute. What is a good thing is to know that if we wanted to ever do that live, we could. So, comment if you'd like to see that. But we got about 10 minutes into this episode, and I realized that I had clicked start streaming instead of start recording. So this year is off to a magical start.
Practice makes perfect.
Yes, it is. Oh, that's so unfortunate.
Well, let us go ahead and re-kick into the Koi Pond pick from last week.
All right.
Very exciting.
We are 2-4. We are
2-4.
batting 500.
So
life is good. We went on a 4 losing streak. Now we're on a 2-win streak.
Yep.
The Browns absolutely blew out the Jets. Almost went over in the first
very
quarter.
early on.
I think it was almost the first quarter.
First quarter, first half.
Yeah, I think by the end of the first half it hit, and then almost by the first quarter it was there. So, or vice versa. You know what I mean? It was an easy win. We love to see it. Because there's no Thursday game this week, we're gonna pick one of the more exciting games to do. I think you guys will love it. Maybe it depends on what you prefer, but it'll be a fun time, and we'll visit that later in the podcast episode when we cross that game.
Yeah, again, Cleveland playing great.
Yeah, I mean, like we thought.
That's right. We think comeback player of the year and coach of the year, Flacco and Kevin Stefanski. Yeah. So we'll see what transpires there. But again, the Browns, they seem like no matter who they play against, they play to the level of the competition.
Yes.
And to me, that speaks a lot to them understanding and no situation or game being too big for them. So
right.
If they get up against the Ravens, which I hope happens, because that would be a fantastic game with the subplot of Flacco. I think AFC right now, that would be one of the coolest games to see in the playoffs. Yeah. Obviously, once you get to the AFC Championship, when that's Ravens or whoever's at the other end of the bracket, that could be really cool too. But Browns, Ravens, if it could shake out to be the AFC Championship, I think would be my pick for, most exciting. I don't know if that really happens. I haven't really looked at the bracket too closely yet because there's going to be a lot that happens this upcoming week. But if it shook out that way, that would be sweet. Yep.
And again, I think Stefanski should probably win Coach of the Year. There's been a lot of teams historically that are bad that have done really well this year, and I love that for the NFL. But honestly, with how the Browns started the year and where they're at now, I think that would be awesome. They lost Watson, which who knows if that was really a loss in the end of the day.
Yeah.
But they definitely lost Chubb. That's a huge loss.
Yep.
Found Ford, got Flacco, and they all made it work, even with, I think, a couple injuries on defense. Correct me if I'm wrong, but very impressive stuff over in Cleveland for once. So got to make sure I give them credit because I usually shit on that city for being so stinky.
It's amazing. So we'll come back to the Saturday game because that's the Dallas game, and we've got a lot to tell you about from our trip.
We got some stories.
Sunday, we'll go to the Patriots at the Bills. Patriots gave the Bills a good fight, 27-21.
They ran that initial kickoff back for a touchdown, which was awesome. More of that, please. And, the Bills keeping it that close is a little bit scary, but who knows what was really going on there.
Yeah. And then Atlanta at Chicago. We called this one just like the Bills. 37-17, Chicago. Justin Fields had a great game. DJ Moore had a great game.
The future is bright for that team. Given,
really
you would hope 5 first-round picks in 2 or 3 years should, catapult your team towards the top, which it definitely looks like it has. But happy to see that when Fields comes back, they're doing well. That's better for that NFC North with how the Vikings have looked recently. But that'll make that Green Bay-Chicago game more interesting. They have the picks coming up this upcoming off-season, and hopefully that team looks a lot better come next September. I there might be a chance they can still make it this year, but obviously next year I think they'll be a much better team, and I think that's going to be a real contender next year.
Yeah, definitely. And ownership for the Bears, or general manager, already came out and said Matt Eberflus is already going to be back for next season, which I think
it's smart.
Given this stretch of games they've had with Fields back, they've had a lot of success, and to me, with the picks you've got coming up, with what you've got now in a core team, it's like, why would you screw around with that? So I think it's good.
I think it's a smart move, especially with how many open head coaching positions there's going to be.
Going to be a bunch.
I would not mess around with that carousel. If you got someone that'll get the job done and is only getting better with the team, which it seems like, for all I know, they crash and burn somehow, but looks good so far.
Incidentally, I was looking at some statistics on the oldest stadiums in the league.
Right.
And I believe Soldier Field, the Bears Stadium, is the oldest active field in the league now. So,
to my knowledge, it is.
And they're in the process of trying to figure out where they're going to put a new stadium and all that. But, hey, they got probably one more season at Soldier Field.
It would be a storyline the NFL would push.
Would definitely love, right? Wrap up Soldier Field with,
Super
playoff
Bowl
game
win.
or Super Bowl win or something like that.
Yeah, at least a playoff game you would hope.
So
all good things.
Yep. Raiders at Colts. Colts won 23-20. We picked the Raiders. We thought they would have a better game.
Defense looked good. I mean, the Raiders are hanging in there. Or props to the Colts for hanging in there and getting the job done. I would not have guessed that, but I guess with home field advantage, you give them the 3, and that's just how it shaped up. But the Raiders team's no joke, and the Colts have not looked amazing recently.
Yeah.
So it was only a matter of time probably where they fell off one, but shame for them, because if the Chiefs would have blown that other game, they might have been in.
Yeah, pretty wild though.
Good on the Colts.
Colts pull it out 23-20. Jonathan Taylor had a good game, so that was probably part of it too.
Yeah, that's true. He had been in a bit of a slump, it seemed like.
Yeah. Let's see. Rams at Giants. Rams 26, Giants 25.
Yep.
Tyrod Taylor gets the start. Plays really well.
Yeah. I mean, there's only one mess up in that entire game, and it was that 2-point conversion.
Yeah. Williams for the Rams. Puka for the Rams. Both had good games.
Amazing.
Rams look awfully good. They got the Niners coming up. But what do we just see? Stafford,
Carson Wentz is starting.
Carson Wentz is going to start for the Rams. So I don't really think that's going to be much challenge for the Niners unless they're resting their starters too. So,
I was going to say, I think the Rams have already clinched technically, to my knowledge, and 49ers obviously have already won the conference.
First spot.
So at this point, it makes sense that they're both kind of like, you know what, let's throw the second strings in and let them tear their ACLs for now.
So that's that with the Rams and the Niners. They're pretty much where they're going to be.
Yeah, we had hoped there might have been a bit of a matchup, given the Rams have been putting up fights, but it makes sense why you wouldn't, if there's nothing to gain or lose. Why even throw Stafford, who's 38 or whatever, however old he is at this point, chance him getting hurt somehow.
I was listening to Charlie Weiss on NFL Network Radio this week, and the other broadcaster on with him, I can't think of his name, but he was talking to Charlie and saying, yeah, but you rest your starters, you play your starters, what do you do, right?
Yeah, that's always been a debate.
And he said momentum and this kind of thing, and Charlie Weiss said, there is no momentum. Momentum is what the next pitcher brings you. And so his point was, that game, you don't know what the momentum's going to be for it.
Right.
So you can't possibly predict, based on past games, how momentum's going to carry you into the current situation.
Right.
So his point was, momentum is just a farce.
Yeah.
So
I don't disagree with that, really.
So one team that does not have momentum right now is the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's a problem over there.
This was an awfully exciting game, but if you're not an Eagles fan, the Cardinals beating the Eagles 35-31 in big comeback fashion.
That was a wild game to watch.
James Conner was running like a son of a gun.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles just could not stop that offense, and that is not an offense that I would consider deadly right now.
And I think the Cardinals had like 300 yards rushing or something like that and just tore up the Eagles' defense.
Yeah. I mean, I know the Eagles have had injuries on the line, I think, and then some in the secondary. But the fact you can't stop the Cardinals and then answer back, given it was a 35-31 game, so, you did answer back. If you score 35 or 31 points in the NFL, you should win the game.
Brian Baldinger on NFL Network came out this week and reviewing the game and just said Jordan Davis is out of shape. Look at him.
He's
out of shape.
He's probably comparing him to what's his name, Zion Williamson. And that man's been sucking down pancake batter for 2 years now.
So Baldinger's like, how in the world can this guy be letting himself play like that? So I don't know what that's about. Jordan Davis has had some really good games this year.
I was going to say, that's not someone you hear getting criticized on the Eagles.
I was surprised by that.
But,
so,
you
A.J. Brown came out today and said, I do not have an issue with Coach Sirianni. So they're trying to patch it up, but is it too far gone at this point?
Yeah.
Possibly.
And it feels like once Sirianni's coaches both went to the Colts and what was the other team we talked about? Cardinals.
Yeah.
Once the offensive coordinator went to head coach at the Colts, and once his defensive coordinator went to go coach at the Cardinals, I think they really lost a step that they weren't going to realize till, I guess, this point. I wouldn't say I would ever know when that would strike, but there's been comments from, I think, Jason Kelsey about sloppiness, a lack of accountability, and you have to wonder if Sirianni's so caught up in these play calling that he's lost the fine details along the way with figuring out new coordinators and whatnot, and it's just now blowing up.
Yeah,
because this has been quite the fall of Rome for them.
And this started probably 5-6 weeks ago.
Yeah,
because you started to notice like Sirianni didn't have the emotional charge. Remember last year and early in the season, he's always excited, enthused, animated, and to me, even in games that they won, he didn't seem stoked. He seemed relieved.
Right.
And so you could see the change, and it's got to be the play calling for the offense on him.
It's a lot of stress, no doubt.
More stress, and he's just trying to get through it, and it just looked more like that than. So the energy is just sucked out of him.
Yes,
I think.
And this is no hate to the Eagles, more questioning, but it also has to be asked. Is he trusting the coordinators? Does he not trust the coordinators? Is he taking on too much responsibility, and now it's happening? But who knows? Again, these are going to be questions we hear about in 10 years on ESPN's 30 for 30 for the fall of the Eagles or some dumb shit.
Probably, yeah.
But it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see if they bounce back, which I think they very well could. And I could also see them burning.
Playing the Giants, and the Giants are looking awfully good. So that's going to be a tough game for them, I think.
As far as I know, given I don't have the draft order off the top of my head and how close it is, but I don't think the Giants have much to lose. I think the difference is between the Giants and the Chargers, and that's the 5th and 6th draft spot at the moment.
Oh, no kidding.
Huh. So that'll be interesting to see. I would love to see the Giants beat the Eagles, because then going into the playoffs, they're dead.
They would have lost 5 of 6 going into the playoffs then, I think.
Yep,
so that's
they would.
Nuts.
Who knows?
Saints had Tampa Bay. We called this one right.
Yeah.
New Orleans 23, Tampa 13. Baker did come back and make a game of it, which we were happy to see that.
Shout out Matt. The Stooges get one right once in a while.
But the Saints somehow, at Tampa, which is odd.
It feels like the Derek Carr moment.
Yeah.
It really does, where why do they need to win? They need to win this game. Don't think they will, and they win it with ease.
Yeah.
Kind of. Minus Baker coming back at the end, but
yeah, exactly. The 49ers had Commanders. Pretty a normal day at the office for the Niners.
I think some people thought the 49ers would blow them out more. I kind of thought too, but at the end, it's the same result, honestly.
Yeah, 27-10 on the road, coast to coast. That's a solid win.
Yeah.
The Panthers at the Jaguars. The Jaguar or the Panthers owner getting busted for throwing drinks on Jaguar fans. Fined $300,000, by the way.
But did you see his statement as well?
No.
He didn't say sorry. He just acknowledged that he should have let security deal with it.
Oh, gosh.
It was a whole thing. He clearly doesn't regret it. He's pissed off. You lost to the second-string quarterback on the Jaguars. I'm not saying they should have won the game because it was like 27-0.
Yeah, 26-0.
26-0.
Yep, and not only that, but this guy has personally had his hand on all the decisions.
Yeah.
So
this offseason,
it's a little raw right now for him.
I understand. I think this was his first season with the team as the owner. So you get the whole emotion of it. First year owner.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I don't really blame the guy. He kind of walked into a barrel fire as it was. Props to you for buying a terrible team at the moment, but also it sounds like he needs to start investing more into maybe what's the word?
GM or something.
Yeah, people that help make decisions
personnel.
and start to take over those decisions, so you can just back away.
Yeah, definitely.
At least in your first few seasons, because I wouldn't run in there as a rookie and just start handing out cash like it seemed he did.
Yeah. Miami at Baltimore. Baltimore 56, Miami 19. Miami, loses Chubb for the season. Waddle did not play in this game for Miami. Baltimore just annihilated them. That's all you can say.
I mean, listen, I said it last week. I'll say it again. Tua's garbage. I'm going to keep beating the drum until the fucking drum breaks. And I don't wish ill to him. I feel bad about Chubb. Injuries are not a laughing matter or something that I hope in the NFL based on how NFL gods treat that. However, shout out to the boys down in Dallas that I told max units on the Baltimore Ravens to win that for Ray Rice's celebration of Baltimore or commitment into something.
Their Ring of Honor or something. Yeah.
And, they just beat the brakes off him. I mean, Melvin Gordon got a touchdown in that game. The same Melvin Gordon that played on the Chargers for 3 years and then sat out a year.
Man.
So, happy it worked out for me. Sorry to see the Dolphins going through it. We'll see if they have it this week later.
Tough times for them, for sure.
I mean, that's ugly. I mean, that was almost 40 points, 41 points. That's
brutal.
That's a tough situation.
Tennessee at Houston. Houston gets C.J. Stroud back and rolls 26-3 over the lifeless Titans in this one, which is unusual.
It's beating a dead fish.
Yeah, they're so Houston is right in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, they are.
And Tennessee is done. So,
Lord.
Surprising game to me. Pittsburgh at Seattle. Pittsburgh wins 30-23.
Yeah. No, I didn't see that coming. If I remember right, we both didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Heck of an outing by Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph played great. Kenny Pickett didn't even want to back up Mason Rudolph, and so he was inactive. So a little bit of quarterback tension there.
I haven't heard the whole story, so I'm not going to give really an opinion. If that's the case, that's not a good look. If that isn't the case, it's just Pittsburgh media just doing it because it seems like more often than not these big football market cities like Pittsburgh, New York, LA, not as much LA I guess with Stafford and Herbert, but some of these bigger markets, you'll hear these stories come out that are just crazy and they end up being crazy. Kind of like Philly, who knows if that's true.
Right.
Probably just have to take his word for it, but after 4 losses the way they had it, it probably was very frustrating, no doubt.
Pitt hasn't put up 30 points too many times this season, so definitely got to say, Mason Rudolph maybe a little bit more ready to go, and can't blame Tomlin for in such an important game making that call for them.
No doubt.
Yeah,
and for what it's worth too, Tomlin doesn't have a losing record again.
There you go.
How does he do it?
Always finds a way. The guy's a magician.
I think it was 17 seasons. I'll have the official thing up here, but I think it was 17 seasons.
Yeah.
So kudos to that guy.
And I think he is only second to Tom Landry on consecutive winning seasons. So
wow.
I think Tom's got him by maybe 2 yet. But,
yeah.
But his is still rolling, so we'll see if he can get there.
That's awesome.
L.A. Chargers at the Broncos. Your quest to a higher draft pick is fully intact.
Brock Bowers is within my reach.
Denver 16, Chargers 9.
I did say 35-7, but for what it's worth, one team got double digits, one team got single digits. It was a field goal mania there for a little bit.
Yeah.
That's about what I expected,
Yep.
I don't know. I have to say, right now, Jim Harbaugh, Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel. I would love any and all of them in any combination. At this point, beggars can't be choosers, but I can give a top 3.
Yep. And again, from Inside Dallas Reporters, I did hear another hot name there is Dan Quinn.
I'd be happy with him.
So lots of, I would say, solid candidates, if not more. So we'll see what happens with all that.
I mean, honestly, anybody with experience that's over the age of 35, which I don't even know if Dan Quinn fits that, but it's just not Brandon Staley.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's not try that experiment again, for the love of God.
Bengals at Chiefs. Chiefs finally get their revenge with an asterisk.
Asterisk due to it wasn't Burrow. They still haven't beat Burrow, so, Bengals fans watching this, I mean, what do you expect? It's in Arrowhead. It's It's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
You know, that's a personal vendetta.
Yeah.
The Chiefs could be 0-16, 0-15, and I still might even think that they could do it because that personal rivalry between the two. So if there's one to give Mahomes, you take
that would
this
be
one.
it.
Because you'll see him next year.
Exactly.
And when you see him next year and Burrow's healthy and that wide receiver group may have gotten worse, you'll be fine. I wouldn't sweat it. Except T. Higgins, you know, if he wants to come to the Chargers. But I saw some people saying they think he might go to the Chiefs, and that's just all personal opinions right now. Who knows? I think Bengals fans were at their worst when we saw him Saturday night. New Year's Eve, I think it was, playing the Chiefs. So,
yeah,
whatever. What are you going to do?
Packers at Vikings, no surprise here.
I don't even know if I watched most of this game.
I watched a little bit, but that was more than enough.
Packers throttled them, right?
Yeah, 33-10. Jordan Love had a great game. Aaron Jones had a great game. Bo Melton, I don't even know who that is. Honestly.
Hell of a name, though.
Yeah.
Boom. I mean, you got to market that, make a pre-workout or some shit.
So, Packers receiver.
Oh, well.
So,
hey, congrats, Boom.
Yeah.
Happy to hear your name.
Exactly.
That's too funny.
So we'll go back and hit the Saturday game.
Right. So as you all know, we were at the Cowboys-Lions game on that Saturday.
That's Saturday, the 30th. Yeah.
When I was talking about Bengals-Chiefs earlier, I meant Sunday. Week was a bit of a blur, but yeah, we were there Saturday.
So we basically spent about 36 hours.
Yeah, I think about the math.
Left to head down there about 5:30 on Saturday morning.
Yes.
Got into Dallas about 10:30 Dallas time. And immediately went from the airport to the Star.
Yes.
Which is the Cowboys headquarters in Frisco, Texas.
Really cool spot.
And as we get out of the Uber, we see a Lamborghini.
Yeah. First thing.
That must be a player or something like that.
Anybody. I mean, Lord knows that Jerry Jones's complex, you'll see anybody there. And a Ferrari Lamborghini is not surprising.
Yeah, it probably a Ferrari around there too.
It might have been in the parking garage below.
So we walk into the lobby, and Colin, you take it from there.
Yeah, so we walk into the lobby, and we start, walking through, because all we're doing is cutting through this hotel to get to the Star and be able to see it. They've got this cool field, big jumbotron, sweet lane with all the
Hall of Fame of players,
Hall of Fame of Cowboys players,
big Christmas tree, Ford Field.
It's all decorated.
It's their practice facility.
Yes, so it's set up beautifully. We're just walking through to go do it. And as we're going through on our right, Matt, who is with us, points out, "Is that Ninja? Is that Tim?" And we noticed the dude with blue hair who was a bit taller, but we turned back around and I was like, that has to be. Originally, I thought they were just, doubles.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they were like fans that just dressed up as them, lookalikes or whatever.
Yeah.
And because, we've been up since 5:30.
That's what I thought.
I wasn't thinking twice. At that point in the day, if I would have seen that, I would have thought I was just losing it finally. And I was like, keep going, is honestly my first thought. Then when Matt points it out, I'm like, maybe it was. And then, so I was like, that's cool. And we keep walking. And then him and Dan, Matt's dad, and Matt are like, go get your picture with him. And so, of course I wanted to, but you always hear about these stories of celebrities and people that are well-known that hate getting run up on. But if you're nice about it, typically they give you some leeway there if you're not literally running up on them. That, I guess, happens. So in my head, I was just like, okay, I've got to do this now then. Because the way the lobby was set up, he was about to turn a corner, go down, probably to his room or wherever he had to be next.
Exactly.
And I was like, I've just got to make this quick. So I kind of fast walk. No jog, it's a fast walk around, kind of to get back to where he was, and he's about to round this corner to what I assume would be disappear. And I just yelled out, I was like, "Excuse me, Tim?" And he turned around, and he was super nice. I told him, huge fan of his, been watching for a long time, got a selfie with him, and I'll throw that up too, obviously. And it was just really cool. He was super nice. I showed him my hand, and I don't think I've been that nervous / excited in my life in a very long time. Because Matt can attest, I don't think I stopped saying that was wild or that was crazy for maybe 30 minutes after that happened. I mean, that saved me from falling asleep, I think, completely. And then we ended up running into Ninja's brother and some of the family at the bar that we went to later that day for lunch.
Yeah.
And they, we didn't even recognize them until they stopped by to say "Go Lions" to Dan. And it was really cool. I mean, that checked one off my bucket list. We never go looking for gamers or anything like that. So I was immediately happy upon arrival, which meant, I went to this game just for fun. I love going to games. I don't have anybody in the race. I can just cheer and have a good time. So to, see someone I know and be able to take a picture was pretty cool. I can't lie. So that was the first thing that happened on that trip.
First thing that we walked to the hotel to pass through it. It was just crazy.
It was awesome. I still can't stop thinking about it, but it was cool.
We wound up going basically from there, grabbing a bite, like Colin said, and then heading back south. So Frisco is about 20 minutes north of the airport.
Right.
So we went from Frisco then down to our hotel at the Hilton in Arlington, which was just 2 miles from AT&T Stadium.
Right.
So we got down there, and one of the things I was wanting to do was try some. Troy Aikman has his own beer called 8.
Yes.
His playing days, for those that don't know, his number was 8.
Yes.
And so at the hotel bar, Dan pointed out that they had 8 on the handle, draft 8.
Because you would have thought they had it at the
first place. Yeah, they
did.
It
must be a Jerry Jones deal that he's not letting them in.
Yeah.
It's a bit wild thinking about it now.
Yeah.
Given, I'm sure, the business deals of things, there's no real friends.
Exactly.
So it makes sense, but they had it at the hotel.
They did, and I think somebody described it, I forget, as kind of like a Mick Ultra without the aftertaste.
I think that's what Matt said,
and
if my memory serves me.
That's a great assessment of it. I'm glad I finally got to try it.
For sure.
It's not available, obviously, anywhere around here yet. No. So, but yeah, got checked in, and we got a little nap, and then
power nap saved us.
Power 20.
God.
And then made our way to the stadium, and
that thing is huge.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, I don't know how to describe it. It could be that it's a dome, and the way it's structured makes it seem bigger than it really is.
Yeah.
But oh my God, we were on the top level, looking out across kind of the field and the bleachers on either side that come down. And holy shit! I mean, I've been to the Colts, Titans, Bengals, Browns. That might be it. I might have listed it that quickly. And that stadium it felt the biggest, and it wasn't close. And I don't know if that's true or not, but that thing is a work of fucking architecture.
I think when you look at it from the outside, it looks like it just goes up so high.
Oh, it does.
And then when you get inside it, it's just massive. I mean, Colin will have some
I'll be showing some pictures throughout this.
Here.
Yeah.
But we took so much video and pictures of just the magnitude inside the stadium of how big it felt.
Yeah.
And we took a pretty good walk around it.
I mean, that's not a short walk.
Tour a bit, and then found a great spot. We had standing room only tickets, so
it was a great deal.
They were $70 versus what we were told the nosebleeds were $400 a seat. So found a great spot and got to take in the game. And
the spot that we found, what was nice about it is, imagine like an open air movie theater style bleachers. Sorry, but they had like a cool concession area and the screen right in front of you, so you could watch the game. But it was also right here. You couldn't see it too nicely, but if you stood up, you could see it enough. And I mean, we were there literally listening to the game, watching the game, and then if you wanted a beer, you could walk 20 feet to go get one. And because we were right there, we could see when the line got short to go get one, so you could time it out pretty easy.
Yeah. It was a thing of beauty, actually.
It really was.
And I mean, tons of Lions fans there. Folks around us said that that was the most visiting team fans they had seen all season at a game. So Dan was really happy. He had lots of Lions fans around too.
There was no worries.
So it was. And the game, of course, was incredible.
Oh yeah.
Close game, big plays,
crazy ending.
Back and forth, and so as we were deciding we were ready to go, we thought it was over with. The Cowboys were going to run the clock, and
that should be the end of it.
I'm like, you know what? The Cowboys can snatch defeat from the jaws of victory any time.
Yes, this was actually said.
And sure as shit, there go the Cowboys throwing the ball and not running the clock out, and all of a sudden the Lions have the ball back, and so we found a spot probably 2/3 of the way up.
Yeah.
Right in front on the 50-yard line of the Jumbotron.
Right on the 50.
And the whole Lions touchdown, 2-point conversion fiasco happened just to the left of us.
Yeah, I mean, we could see right down there.
And we're stunned, overjoyed, shocked.
Oh my God.
The
videos were crazy.
Up, down, all over the place with Cowboy and Lions fans right there by us, standing in this area.
I mean, I didn't have anybody that I really wanted to win. I had bets, but they were props, so I didn't root for any specific team. But oh my God, I mean, the cheers when they got it.
Yeah.
The fall when they didn't get it, and then when they didn't get it again. It was wild. I mean, that was an amazing game to be at.
Yeah, so it went from the 2-point euphoria.
Yep, the highs.
To the low of what's the flag.
Yep.
To another chance.
Yep.
To Micah Parsons jumping off sides.
Yep.
To them going again and then throwing incomplete in the flat on the left.
Yep.
And it was just insane.
It was insanity.
Jerry Jones later said, I died 3 times on that 2-point conversion. It's really not an understatement. I mean,
no, not at all.
And we were just jumping around for everything going on. And
it really turned into just rooting for football, which it was a blast.
It was fantastic. I mean, you could not go to a more memorable game.
That
bar
was
none.
Jimmy Johnson getting inducted. The place was sold out. I kid you not, when we say we had the perfect seats for standing room only, we were on the top level. There was no going any higher. And you look just to the side of us was the railing where most of those standing room tickets were. There was 7-8 rows deep at one point.
Yep.
To the extent that it was like, unless you're 6'5", there's no shot you're even seeing any part of the field.
And where we were sitting in these stands, I could look to the right, and I could actually see where they had Jimmy's name covered over for the Ring of Honor. So when they flipped it open, to announce it and all so forth, I mean, we could see it, and I actually got video of it.
Yeah.
But the halftime ceremony, I think, for me, as a diehard Cowboys fan, that was just beyond words. It was such an exciting moment with all the former players. The Fox crew there, his Fox Sunday teammates with him. And, I think Colin said this, I didn't see it at the time, but on the video you see him saying, I'm not going to cry, I'm not going to cry. Well, the next day on Fox Sunday, when he was on there, the pregame with his Fox family, he lost it.
Yeah, he did. He finally did.
And
he held it together at the game.
He really did it well. He was great at the game.
It was quick, but it was good.
But, I could have, honestly, I always want the Cowboys to win.
Right.
But the Jimmy thing just was such a big deal.
Right.
That, and once the game happened like it happened, you couldn't help but think that the Jimmy Johnson curse was actually lifted, because how the hell does that ending even happen?
I mean, they really tested the curse by giving the Lions that ball and that chance.
And so,
honestly,
and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, it's real. The curse is real.
Oh,
it's lifted.
Everyone in that stadium's thinking that, and the Lions fans are going, why did we do this with Megatron?
Oh my gosh.
Or whoever it was. I think there's been a couple.
Yeah.
Maybe Barry Sanders and Megatron.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Probably both.
Oof.
But yeah, so anyway, just an insane
It was
game.
crazy.
Yeah.
And sold out. I mean,
sold
packed,
out.
Great crowd. It was
I think it was
about
97,000 people.
Yeah, and I mean, aside from your solid cast of characters that you see at every football game at the top level, there really wasn't any sort of problems.
No, it was very...
For what it's worth, it was pretty smooth. And
for as crazy as it was, in terms of enthusiasm and all that, it was very controlled, I would say.
No, I honestly didn't know how it would go, and it could be there was that many Lions fans that no one felt like they needed to say anything.
Yeah.
But it was all around a really, really good game.
One of us, I forget who it was, but we just said, no matter what, it was memorable.
Oh, yeah.
You'll never forget it, because it was so different, unique, had all these elements to it, for all of us.
Yeah, no doubt.
And, I don't if you've never been to the Arlington area where AT&T Stadium is. They've got a new area called Texas Live.
Really cool.
And so we walked there close from the stadium just to kill some time and grab some beverages while we let the masses just exit the area.
And I mean, can I just say, I think we stood there for 2 or 3 beers with a crowded bar, and it was still pouring out like it had just ended.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah.
How many people came out of that arena?
So, and just a great time a great way to wind down, from the game and just talk it over. We saw, Dan Campbell's crazy press conference, on the TV there at the bar that we were waiting at.
They immediately have all of the news about it, which was huge news, no doubt, and it was fresh. So we walked 5 minutes, and then it's right back on. They got the subtitles. Yeah. It was a great setup.
Yep. So, great trip.
All-around amazing trip.
Ton of fun the next day at the airport, getting ready to head back. Hit Fridays at the airport and watched some of the 1 o'clock games.
Yep.
And then on the plane,
we watched the rest of them.
Amazing free access to NFL Red Zone.
God, shout out American Airlines.
Amen to that, and got to watch that beautiful Cardinals-Eagles game.
Yes, thank God we found it when we did. I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't sure what we were going to get on that plane because, when you're not going too far on the terms of how long you'll be on a flight, they don't always designate, planes that have that many accommodations.
Yeah.
So the fact they had the free access to NFL Red Zone on the plane.
Yeah. Incredible.
Sponsor, no sponsor, by God means.
Sponsor, no sponsor, American Airlines.
And unless we
Amen to that.
Well, if we take them down, does that mean maybe
we're not on there?
Well, shit. But yeah, that was amazing.
And then we were all back home at 6:30ish.
Yeah, and that was New Year's Eve. I mean,
New Year's Eve evening.
I can't tell you how many times we said this has been the most perfect trip to the point where as we were getting on the flight at the end, I was like, yep, this is where it all goes wrong. And I'm like, I was happy. I was content.
It really was incredible.
But it was a great trip, all jokes aside.
Memorable, memorable, memorable.
Yes.
That's all I could say about it. So
very much so.
Dallas 20, Lions 19. Thanks for the memories. And we'll add that at that game, CeeDee Lamb broke Michael Irvin's receptions and yardage record for single season. So
wild stuff.
Fantastic on top of everything else that was in that game.
I mean, there was very few other things that could have happened.
That's true. So true.
Heck yeah.
So, all right, so previewing week 18.
Yep.
So the final regular season games.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday we have Pittsburgh at Baltimore. And we've already seen that Lamar Jackson is resting.
Yep.
Baltimore has nothing else they could achieve.
Nope.
Pittsburgh can get in the playoffs still.
Yes, Pittsburgh can still get in the playoffs. Now,
isn't that crazy as shit?
Let me read you these scenarios. If Pittsburgh wins and Buffalo loses, Pittsburgh is in. If Pittsburgh wins and the Jaguars lose, they're in. They win and Indy loses, they're in. If Pittsburgh wins, Indy loses, that seems repetitive. Okay, we're just going to end it there. Basically, Pittsburgh needs to win, and an AFC team needs to lose out of those little remaining ones.
So Jackson has to lose, or who?
Bills.
Or the Bills. Okay.
Yes. And there's a lot riding on the Bills. Essentially, it seems like a bunch of this is between Jaguars and Bills.
Okay. Interesting.
And Colts, for what it's worth. But those are also like the 3 teams that have I think almost the exact same record, and situations are almost the same.
So does Baltimore without Lamar Jackson beat Pittsburgh at Baltimore?
I think there is a chance, it being at 4:30 on Saturday.
Yep.
I kind of feel like Pittsburgh could do it, but I don't know. They're hot. They're coming into this. They need to win. Ravens do not need to win, and they're sitting, I'm sure, more than just Lamar Jackson, but that's the headline.
I think Pittsburgh wins this one.
I think Pittsburgh wins this one.
I really do.
I don't think they're gonna leave it to faith by Pittsburgh winning.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, it's just the Ravens have nothing to play for. Is what it's going to come down to.
It's not even like their spirits are dead or anything like that. There's no point.
No, they're going to get some depth, some work.
Yep.
And on they go. So the second game, 8:15 on Saturday. Texans at Colts.
Now this one, I think this is going to be a really good game. This is a classic rivalry that hasn't really been alive.
Yep.
Or it maybe is exciting is a better way to put it in the last few years.
Yep.
So I think this one's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think so too. Texans have a good defense. Colts have a Looks like their running game is solid now.
If they can get that running game going, I think they have a real shot.
Yep. I think I'm going to go with the Texans in this one.
You're going to go Texans?
Yeah.
I'll go against you. I'll go Colts.
All right.
I'll ride with Kyle on this one.
Yep, do it, man.
But, I mean, both these teams are in the same situation that they have to win this. Obviously, every team in the wild card position does. But there's I think in Colts and Houston, yeah, both need to win, and then a couple other things to happen that's not as crazy. All I think rides on Jacksonville, depending on who wins.
We'll go ahead and give Kyle kudos for winning the rack.
Yeah.
Fantasy football.
Kyle won the rack league.
Nice job. If we haven't said it, Jason and Juicebox for winning the
Father-Son
League. Congratulations, Jason.
He went on a tear through the family in order to win it, and he earned it.
Every second of it, yes. Let's go on to Sunday. We've got the Browns at the Bengals.
Browns at the Bengals.
And the Browns are playing for something?
No,
they're not.
Don't believe so. I think they're in. They clinched, and the Bengals are eliminated. So that game is a throwaway.
All right. I'm going to take Cincy at home and a throwaway.
I'm going to take Cincy at home as well.
Vikings at Lions.
Vikings at Lions.
I think there's nothing going on with this one either, is there?
Don't believe so.
Yeah.
I believe that, well, okay, wait a minute.
Okay,
Vikings have a chance. Now, I
think
the actual seeding could still move if the Lions will win, depending on what else happens. NFC but they're in for sure.
Yeah.
So if the Vikings win, Seattle loses, Green Bay loses, and then either Tampa Bay or New Orleans loses, the Vikings are in. So they need 4 things to go right, including them winning.
I'm going to take Detroit.
I know. I think so, too.
I don't think the Vikings have enough.
That quarterback situation's a mess. I'm going to go with the Lions as well. And
that's a real problem.
Yeah. The Vikings are going through it right now.
All right. Jacksonville at the Titans. Jacksonville needs this game, right?
And the Titans need to lose this game, which is why I'm going Titans.
I'm going to go Titans on this one. It feels like one of those games.
I still believe Vrabel has the inability to lose, and this will be a game that he wins just to spit in the direction of the Jaguars and leave the Titans, because when he leaves, and if he leaves, he will not screw over their draft pick, but he'll definitely drop it a couple more.
Yep.
Which it could. I really haven't looked at draft yet. That's a post-Super Bowl thing, but
and Vrabel, after losing last week, is going to want to.
They lost last week. They gave away A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
The front office was a mess for a little bit there. It still is. I think they win this just as a spite. You know what I mean? Which then gives the Steelers and whoever wins the Texans-Colts game
the ends,
basically. Which I don't know how many spots are left. I didn't really take a look. Is it 2? It might be.
I think it's 2.
Yeah, because I think the Colts are in right now. Yeah. And then I
think that's right. And Pittsburgh is in there somewhere.
They're towards the bottom. They need the win with a bunch of other help, but it could happen.
Yep.
But
Vrabel helps Pittsburgh probably by beating Jacksonville.
Yeah, he helps everyone except the Jaguars.
Yeah. Jets at Patriots. So I'm going to say in Bill Belichick's last game,
possibly
as the head coach of the Patriots, he wins.
Yeah. I think he beats the Jets. I just don't think the Jets have anything else.
I agree.
I don't think there's a soul left there that cares, personally.
Totally agree.
I'm going to go with Patriots as well.
Falcons at Saints. I just do not trust the Falcons.
Yeah.
It's at New Orleans. And I think New Orleans wins it.
Yeah. I think so too. New Orleans
needs help, right?
Needs help from a Tampa Bay loss.
Yep.
But I think the Saints win.
Yep.
I just don't trust the Falcons at all.
I agree with you. And essentially the pressure's off, so Carr excels in those games, it seems. So
he does. And I don't think the Falcons have a crazy defensive line, which is usually key to beating Derek Carr.
Yeah.
So I think they win.
And I think the head coach of Atlanta gets fired after this. So
yeah,
that's kind of it.
It probably should just go back to FedEx, but
yeah,
I feel bad for him, but it's just been bad.
Tampa at Carolina. Look out, Buccaneer fans. You might get a drink tossed on you. So I think that Tampa beats the Panthers.
I picked them last week, got shit kicked in for that, so I'm gonna go Tampa Bay again.
And I think it's 50-50 on another drink being thrown. We'll see.
Yes, maybe he has a guy for it this time.
Might have a guy.
If it's not him, it's security, and
that's right.
He's just up there tossing drinks at the fans.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Bears at the Packers.
This will be interesting.
I don't know if Green Bay loses that game, if they can really move anywhere. I guess there's a shot.
There is.
Okay.
With the right combinations.
Let's hear it.
So if Green Bay loses that game, Seattle loses. Wait, no, that's how they get in. The Bears, Bears can't get in. Never
Bears
mind.
are out, I think.
But I think there's a bunch of situations where if Green Bay loses that, there's a way that
it can move.
It could move.
Okay.
I didn't get that. I know what happens if there's still a chance they get in if they lose, but it also takes like 4 other teams losing in both situations.
Okay. Interesting.
I'll kind of show those as we go through these just to make it a little easier because me listing them off probably is not going to get through to you, but
Show it on the screen.
Yeah,
graphic.
I'll have it up here.
Broncos at Raiders.
I don't think these guys are playing for anything. I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Raiders at home?
Yeah, I think I'll go with them.
Same here.
It's one of those games where it's like you could bet on it, but, with no one really trying, it's hard to predict what happens.
Eagles at the Giants. Giants are playing well.
I kind of want to take the Giants.
Kind of leaning that way. I'm thinking they're going to feed A.J. Brown the ball probably 10 times.
Yes, I think he's going to be Mr. Maniac.
Yep.
So,
but the Eagles pass defense is horrible, and Tyrod Taylor has a thing going with who was the guy 86?
Oh my God.
Slayton. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
So
I'm gonna go Giants just for fun.
I'll go Giants too.
It just feels right.
It does. Seattle at Arizona, hell of a game right there.
Yes,
Seattle have to win to get in.
Yes, so Seattle needs to win.
Okay.
And these have the situations where if they tie, also, I'm just gonna ignore those.
Yeah.
Seattle needs to win. Green Bay needs to lose to give Seattle a playoff berth. So I don't hate it, to be completely honest. I definitely think Seattle probably wins that game. Again, wait, who are they playing?
At Arizona?
I think Seattle wins this.
Yeah, I would have to say Seattle.
I feel like they just bench Kyler Murray for this game. I don't think it'll be announced, but there's no reason this last game for them to
probably check your depth out and so forth, and I don't know.
I think that'll be a sneaky one where you see players on the Cardinals come in that you didn't expect for like second strings.
Yeah.
But who knows? I'm gonna go Seattle though.
Yeah, I agree with Seattle. Chiefs at Chargers.
Chiefs.
Got to go with the Chiefs on that one.
Everyone's out on the Chargers.
Again, the Chargers are playing for the picks, right?
Yeah, I'm going Chiefs.
Rams at Niners. Neither one are playing for anything.
Yeah,
like we said, Carson Wentz is starting for the Rams.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'll go Sam Darnold on the Niners.
Yeah.
And win that game.
At San Fran, they probably still have enough depth to pull that off.
It feels like they should. Who knows?
Think.
Especially with how some of the injuries went last year.
Yeah.
They've got some experienced second stringers, so just for fun, I'm going to stick with the Niners for that one.
There you go. Me too. Cowboys at Commanders. The Cowboys win this. They win the East. I suspect, my guess is going to be, here's how I think this game will go. It'll be 10-10 at the half. The Commanders will give it a good run.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys score 3 touchdowns in the third quarter.
Okay.
And Dak is out for basically most of the fourth, is what I would guess.
Just to signify the win.
31-10.
Just to keep that second seed, or
That's what
wherever they're at right now.
Yeah, keep that second seed, which is huge.
I think so
too.
You
get home games until the championship, so you're guaranteed at least one. Should have 2.
Yes.
That would be a hell of a thing to have.
And then is that Cowboys game at 4:00?
Yes.
So it's possible that the Eagles, if they lose that game, the Cowboys will go into it just second stringers only.
Eagles are at 4 as well.
Oh, never mind.
Yep.
Good on them for doing that.
The NFL, of course, wanting to keep anybody that has anything against someone all at the same schedule.
That's a good point.
No scoreboard watching.
Yep,
so.
Definitely Cowboys.
And then we got Buffalo at Miami.
And this is where the pick comes in.
Yes.
I'm going to keep beating the drum that I've been beating. Tyreek and Waddle, I believe, are both back.
Waddle's back, eh?
Maybe.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I thought I saw something that they were both back. But regardless,
yes,
the pick this week, the over-under right now is 49.5.
49.5.
I have to go with my gut on this and say there's no way this game goes like that. This will be a 21-20, 24-17 game. It's divisional. They both are playing for that division. Buffalo wins, they're in. If they lose, they're out, I'm pretty sure, or probably out. And the Dolphins, I think regardless, the Dolphins are in.
Okay.
Buffalo needs this game. I'm going to go Buffalo. It's at Miami. That scares the shit out of me to pick a winner. Over-under is 49.5. I will be taking the under. That will be Week 8 Koi Pond pick.
I like it.
To start betting 7,500 or 750.
I like it. I think I agree with you.
I think that's a hyped-up game that it's prime time. I think the trend may not have continued in the past few weeks, but I like the under personally.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think Buffalo is going to win this game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I think the Dolphins have taken it on the chin.
Yes. With
losing some players. I'm not sure who's going to be in there. I know Chubb is out. I think anytime your first week after you get dealt that kind of blow, it takes a week or two for a team to find their way. And
they'll be fine for playoffs.
Buffalo's going to has to win this game.
The drive there is going to overcome.
Yeah.
And I think Dolphins losing Chubb is huge because Josh Allen will have more time. But I also think with Buffalo traveling to Miami, that offense is going to be slower.
Mm-hmm.
So people thinking Buffalo will score 35 and Dolphins will score 28.
Yeah.
I really think the Dolphins are banged up, and there's a shot Tyreek and Waddle both go out in that game.
Yeah.
Tyreek's injury is not taking much for him to just limp off for a quarter.
Right.
And Waddle, with the way Tua leads balls, Waddle could be on the cart on his way out at half. So I really think this game is going to go under.
Yeah. I think, what did you say the over-under was?
49.5.
I think it's 20-17.
Yeah, I'm guessing something like that as well.
I completely agree with you. Well, that's our pick of games for the week.
Yeah, that wraps that up.
And
should be an interesting last week.
Yeah.
We've made it through the season. On to the postseason at this point.
Yeah, we'll know here, by the end of Sunday, where everything shakes out and who's going to play where, and
who knows?
By about 9:00 Sunday night, we'll know the schedule for the next week too. Who's playing what days, what times, and all that, which is always great to see.
Maybe this was an idea he hasn't heard this yet. Maybe once the bracket's made, we will do a Koi Pond bracket challenge.
Oh, love it!
Where everyone can send $5 and their bracket, and we'll store the pictures, the actual papers, however you want to do it.
Yeah.
And whoever wants to can somehow get it to Kevin or I, and we can put you in there, and we'll track everyone's brackets. I'll come up with I guess the tiebreaker, if someone had a perfect bracket to the end, would be the score.
Yeah.
And we'll make rules for that as it comes. If this idea gets a little traction, but I think a playoff bracket challenge would be a lot of fun.
I think it'd be a blast.
No spreads, just winners. Keep it easy. Final score at the end for tiebreaker, or maybe we could do total points. Who knows?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. And let us know. Leave it in the comments. I don't hate the idea personally because I came up with it, but I'll let it. We'll see how it shakes out.
Pretty interesting. So real quick, if the playoffs stayed the same, started now.
Yep.
We'd have Colts at Dolphins.
Oh dear.
We'd have Bills at Chiefs. We'd have Browns at Jaguars.
Okay.
Ravens waiting in the wings.
Yep.
We'd have Packers at Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Rams at Lions. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Eagles at Tampa Bay. And the Niners waiting in the wings. So those are
that first round would be a little tough.
There's some entertaining matchups there.
I don't hate the Buccaneers and Eagles.
No.
The Jaguars and
Browns. Yeah.
I really think this is going to be that Giants-Vikings game from a couple years ago that everyone was like, yeah, the Giants win that game.
Yeah.
The Browns win that game, in my opinion.
Stafford going back to Detroit to play the Lions would be crazy.
Great storyline.
Yep.
I don't know how any Lions fans would feel, but I love that storyline.
And the Cowboys haven't beaten the Packers in anything since Rodgers.
Yeah.
So this is the first of no Rodgers, so it'd be interesting to see how that goes.
Is the curse lifted?
Is the curse lifted? Yes. So,
Koi
again,
Pond says yes.
Again, this could change. Matchups could change 1, 2, or 3 of these probably.
I mean, is there any alligators in the pond?
Damn interesting.
Any green alligators searching for little starfish? No.
Oh, yeah. Tick, 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 tick,
oh,
tick.
boy. Not the clock.
All right. Well, that's
about all I got.
Podcast 8 for this week, right?
I think so. But, yep, that's the Koi Pond, episode 8.
Episode 8. Thank you for listening. And,
yes.
As you start to de-deck the halls, be careful. It's that time of year when, you start turning out your lights and taking down your decorations, and find something to keep you excited and thrilled about stuff. And part of that's this podcast.
Yes, as we all know.
We'll keep you
so
going.
much fun. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we will see you next Thursday morning.
Thank you very much.
Koi Pond out.